hands down, older generation, people that I spoke to will say 50 and over think it's too late. They think Nantucket's gone, done, there's no saving it.
It is what it is. We're lucky to live in a place where so many people want to live, and the reason why they come here, for instance, just visitors alone. Forget about them even buying a house here. People who come here just to visit, they still come here for the same reason that I loved it in the 80s when I first came here.
Yeah, they do. Do you think, though, because I feel like it's one of those situations where we're becoming a victim of our own success, where the reasons you came in the 80s is still similar to the reasons that people are coming from Manhattan and they came for the first time 2 years ago and love Nantucket.
Right.
And I feel like there is still a peacefulness, even for myself in August. I don't necessarily think it's peaceful, but a lot of people do.
Yes, they do.
And a rusticity, and there's a certain charm to it that I do feel like when we talk about saving Nantucket, we've made ourselves so successful by really promoting Nantucket as this, peaceful, rustic destination. But if we don't...
But if you can't afford it, you're not going to stay here. You can't come here. Yeah. And it really is a certain kind of person at this point.
And I think
there's no problem with that.
A certain American that comes to live here and work here, and non-American too. There's a lot of people that come here, and I think it's interesting because anyone who lives here is already used to making compromises, and they're willing to do without in a more traditional, they're willing to live with a couple extra people, or they're willing to, be seasonal and move off island, or live smaller, pay more, already making compromises. And I think, I don't know, I guess I can't imagine being just a commuter island. That doesn't seem...
Do you own a house here?
No.
Oh,
I don't.
Interesting.
No.
I thought you did.
No. I am a renter.
Interesting. That's good that you're a select person.
Well, that was,
that's a good thing.
Yeah, at the very start, that was one of the things that I felt that was essential, is that when you're looking at a board and how we can really tackle the problems that we have, if affordable housing is one of our biggest issues, then we need someone who's renting, who's really experiencing what it's like to not own, to want to own, to be happy to rent if there's some stability, to have done the Nantucket shovel time and time again, and to be looking at the carrot of ownership off island versus the compromises you'd be making to have ownership on island all the time, as are the majority of my friends. And I think that, without a renter being a part of the conversation and the policy making, then, again, we're not really, it's not very well informed policy. So.
That's an interesting aspect to what's going on today. The people want to be with their own people. I think you see it on the internet.
Yeah.
You see it with ideas, with...
I had someone say it to me point blank at the brewery.
What did they say?
They said, rich people just want to be with rich people.
Yeah.
And
it's true. I hate to say it.
Do you think it's the majority, though?
I think it's pervasive right now, and it's something that has to be we have to look at it as what it is.
Yeah.
And it's become that way. It's everywhere, though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's sort of it is going on. You see it more in cities because people are living more closely together.
I don't like it. I don't like to just live with just one kind of I like a variety of different people around. That's what I miss about what Nantucket used to be. You'd sit on a bench downtown and you wouldn't even know if the guy was rich or not. He never showed it off, or it's different now. And
it's funny because as we were driving by, I feel like the brewery, part of the reason it's done so well is because it's been a common ground for
you got it.
Everyone.
Just like the Chicken Box and places like that, you bet. So why did you come to Nantucket? Well, I mean, Saratoga Springs that's a great place. Did you go to school there too?
No, I went to school up in Montreal at McGill.
Oh, okay, that's right. I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
That. Yep.
And I ended up, so my family, my mom's side of the family actually was coming out here up until the 80s. Her cousin had bought a house back in the 60s, and it's still in the family, sort of like a second cousin twice removed. They were coming out here. One of my second cousins worked for Toscana, and so I was too young to remember anything. My older brothers remember coming out here when I was very young, then in the 90s, family friends were coming out here all the time. Their family had a house out here. So came out when I was sort of 10, 12, 13 years old. Then got into, we just didn't come out for years. And then essentially what happened is I went to university in Canada. I was studying international development, played around with political science for a little bit, decided politics wasn't for me. It's not how you get things done, but I've changed my mind.
Well, but then you had to learn about horticulture too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was something
Well, what
you've always
happened
wanted.
is in university I got into forestry. So up in Canada I was working in forestry in the summers, and then the research I was doing in developing countries was forestry related. But what also happened, which is how I ended up on Nantucket sort of as an adult, was that I learned to surf. And once I learned to surf down in South America, there was no going back. And I can't even imagine I don't even understand what I did in Saratoga now growing up.
Are you out there like on a day like this too? Even in the wintertime, do you surf?
I've gone a little soft when it comes to surfing in the winter.
Okay. I was going. Wow, you are hardcore though.
Yeah, I used to, and you
right.
know, I definitely have been in January before, and but I definitely like the water to be a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
But I was doing an internship and research project down in Ecuador. I met two surfers from Nantucket, and they said, if you love surfing and you love working outside, then you should come to Nantucket. So back when I was 22, I ended up on Nantucket again.
I gotcha.
And the forestry...
What a coincidence, though, that you would run into them down there.
Yeah, it was... it was one of those sort of chance events that, you know, I do look back on it. It sort of was that moment that sets your next 10, 15, 20 years forward into totally different
How long have you
direction.
been married?
I have been married 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
We've been together for 11 now. So,
oh, I see.
Yeah, so, and we kind of had 2 weddings because we got married here, but then we had a big party a year later in Ireland. So
Oh, he's an Irishman?
He's Irish, yeah.
Ah.
And we met out here on Washington Street.
Oh.
And then actually we met in the Chicken Box. So I couldn't have a more Nantucket sort of romance than that right there.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what do you think of Ireland? Could you ever see yourself living over there?
I think, you know, maybe it would be, I could see it. I thought the first 3 years of living there when I really fell in love with Ireland is that it's a great place to retire to.
Yeah.
And if I become a writer or an artist in my retirement, it would be the best place in the world.
You like to write?
I play around with it. I don't do it as much yet. I do like to write. And I'm also trying to think of like, how do you survive in Ireland? Living in the middle of nowhere, a writer would be a great career. Ireland is spectacular, and it's got 2 different sides. It's got the side when you're there as a tourist, and then there's the side when you're living there.
I've been there quite a few times.
Oh yeah,
it's one of my favorite places.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just the people. It's the way it looks, and it's the people. They're so unique.
Yeah, they really are.
I mean, of all the people in the world, they're one of the most unique places to go.
Doors are open. They're always up for having fun, having a laugh, and there's a great pace of life and sort of what's prioritized.
That's not that easy to do around here.
No.
To keep a pace, a nice pace.
No.
It gets too crazy sometimes, don't you think?
It gets very crazy.
Life gets so crazy. You're just so work. Work.
It was funny, when I first moved to Ireland, everyone, I didn't drink tea, and I had no idea what this idea of, sitting down for half an hour at 10:15 and 2:15, that just was a foreign concept, because here I eat my lunch on the run, you start at 7, you finish at 5. If you start anything before 9 o'clock in Ireland, you're way too early. And if you don't sit down at 10:15 and have a cup of tea, you will be forced to sit down.
Oh, that's good.
So
you're doing that now?
I'm somewhere in between.
Exactly. Okay, so how's business? All right?
Yeah, business is great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the name of your business?
Wilder Designs.
Okay. And what do? You design architecture? Landscape architecture?
Yeah. So landscape design. My husband's a stonemason.
Okay.
And when we were in Ireland, it was 7 years of design and build. And I've been on mini diggers, and I've even, if it wasn't for the calluses, I think I'd be a stonemason, but I can't.
Oh, Rita, come on.
I don't have the
You can
I don't
do
have
it.
the gumption for it. But
You're a strong woman,
yeah.
I can tell.
But yeah, so we do the same thing here, and my focus has really been more and more, radicalizing a little bit with ecological landscapes. So looking at how the building, I really geek out on the interplay between built environment and buildings and the landscape, and how those two work together to be more energy efficient, cost effective. All that.
I just took Daniel Ross for a drive around. You know Daniel? Yeah. He said he talked to you about making a green roof on First Way.
Oh yeah. That was a couple of years ago now. Yes. Oh yeah, you just drove around with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that possible that we could see that kind of thing on Nantucket? Would the HDC allow that though?
I think probably the inroad for something like a green roof on Nantucket is a flat roof, and some of their best applications are flat roofs, where particularly I'm a couple years too late to push it for the hospital. There's so much research out there showing that when people have green views out of their bedroom windows, that their recovery time is faster and they need less medicine. So there's a big push all over the world to be putting in green roofs on hospital roofs, just for that, the patient benefit, but they really have an impact on your energy efficiency. So, I think from how do they fit into the picture on Nantucket, I think anywhere where they wouldn't be visible, which is a flat roof. We're a little bit late for the school, the fire station, and the hospital.
A little late.
But,
Yeah,
maybe,
right, it's never too late.
But the second biggest benefit they have is stormwater management. So when you've got, you can see some pitched roofs right here, and you look at some of these big roofs like the high school, the water comes off at such a pace, and it puts pressure on our infrastructure. So, I think it depends on how committed are we going to be to really solving some of these water quality issues, and where as a town are we willing to compromise? And the question is, right now, I don't know, because we have such a strong aesthetic driving a lot of our decisions. Are we going to compromise with some of these environmental issues we're facing? I don't know. But
well, what do you want to do? What do you think?
Yeah, I think green roofs are beautiful.
What should we do about fertilizer?
We absolutely need to reduce it. I don't garden with fertilizer.
If somebody says to you, make my lawn green and use I don't care what you use, what do you say to them?
I'm not the person to call.
Call somebody else.
Yeah. That's one of the things that before Board of Selectmen even that I was working on is one, what are the alternatives? So when someone wants a really, picture perfect lawn, one, there's ways to do it without using, there's ways to do it organically, which still uses fertilizer, but doing it in a way that we're not impacting our water the same way you're doing it conventionally. So you can go the organic route, or you can go what they call a toxin-free route. And the Hamptons are doing it. And if
what does it look like?
It looks the same. It's beautiful. It's green. It's sometimes it might you might leave it a tad bit longer.
They're doing it in the Hamptons.
If they're doing it in the Hamptons, we can do it here.
We're not doing it here? You're not seeing it here, or are some people doing it?
There are some people doing it here. But
I'd like to see that lawn and show people what it looks like. I think it's important for people to know that it's possible to have something you like.
Yeah.
And, it's a compromise. Here we go again. You compromise a little.
Compromise, and I think one of the other great ways to compromise is just reducing the amount of lawn. I think in a lot of cases, some people have more lawn than they want, but they don't know what to do with the rest of it.
Yeah.
And some people just don't know what the alternatives are. So I'm a big advocate, and they're not no maintenance, but I'm a big advocate of sort of a Nantucket appropriate meadow, because meadows, once they're established, they never need fertilizer. They also...
When you say meadow, that's just like letting it grow really just...
Not necessarily. It's a certain plant mix, and you can you can do what they call a turf meadow, which would be, maybe 4 to 6 inches, which is just, it looks like a slightly longer lawn, all the way up to a 4-foot meadow that you've installed to provide habitat for birds and food for birds and things. So there's a real range of possibilities with meadow. Meadow is essentially anything that has like 80% grass species in it. And then you can add wildflowers depending on what you want. But you don't fertilize and you don't irrigate once they're established.
Does it cost more money to maintain it? A lot of people have They spend a lot of money on their lawns here. Would it be cheaper?
No. Yes. Yes.
To have a meadow than it would be to have
absolutely.
the typical Nantucket landscape.
Absolutely.
I see.
And you can do buffers, you know, so that you've got meadow. I think the key to a meadow, or the key to anything other than a lawn, is to always making it look intentional and just planning it. If you like things really clean cut, you can do something that is not a high intensity or sort of a high input lawn. So, you know, that's what I'm really working towards, is helping people realize, or putting the information out there so that people realize there are alternatives with a range of price points. Ultimately, they should all be less expensive over time. So yeah.
Okay, well, Rita, always nice to get to know you.
Same.
And congratulations
so
on your becoming a select.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the pickup.
You got it.
What would you like to see? Like, select person, you're kind of stumbling every time you say it.
I don't know why. I normally don't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're a female, and you know, I figured I got to be.
It's strange to say select man.
I know.
I'm comfortable with all of them. It was funny, at some point, for almost pure design reasons, you know, the bumper sticker that you can see on my truck over there, I put select woman, because I can't say Rita
Where is
select
your truck?
man. Right in front of us.
Oh, that one. That's your home. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
it says Read on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and underneath it says select woman. And
okay.
More women asked me about that than men. Men actually never. They almost always called me select woman.
They do.
But it was only women who said, "Why select woman?" or "You should really be select man." It was interesting.
You don't care.
I don't. I really don't care.
I think that. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think whatever people are most comfortable with.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, it seems weird for me to call myself select man. I'm fine with select person, but I'm not too hung up on it.
Exactly.
So.
All right.
Great. Thanks again.
Thanks,
Gino.
Rita.
I feel honored to have time in the van here with you.
Yo, well, I appreciate you doing it. Thank you.
Questions?
You got it.
See you around.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, Gino. Take care.
Yep.